What will he sing today? I swear to God,
Stop,
if what I
stop.
think is gonna come out of your mouth comes out of your mouth, I can feel it coming.
I see trees of green, red roses too.
Quincy,
I see 'em blue for me and you. And I
just
think to myself, what a wonderful world.
I had one request, and it was that you kept that particular voice off our podcast.
Is that good though?
It is pretty good, actually.
I could go into a wonderful world.
You could. I'm sure there's gonna be a non-actor. Good evening, Quincy. How are you today?
I'm great. We saw Carrie Ellis live at 54 Below last
Yeah,
night.
how could I be bad on the day after that?
It was, I mean, you tell me.
It was honestly like church is like the best way to describe it. The set list, incredible. The instrument, tip-top shape.
She's in pristine
I
voice.
feel like the vibe in the room last night was like exactly perfect. Like it was just like everybody was there to have a good time, hear Miss Carrie Ellis sing the greatest hits of Broadway and the West End.
I think our table mates may have thought we were a bit much.
Well, I am a bit much.
Well, what's interesting
So,
is we're really not. Like, I don't want the listeners to think that we're like these rowdy
no.
theater patrons. Uh, we just had two moments, one after the other. Kevin almost knocked the table down, and then I like accidentally threw a pen at her when I was trying to sign the tab, and it happened very close.
But
And
that
I
wasn't
think,
even during the show. That was literally like on the way out, both of those things.
yeah, the "Are you guys big fans of her?" I can tell was a little pointed, I thought.
We can tell. Yeah.
Again, though, we're not. We're very polite audience members.
We're good audience members. Are we enthusiastic audience members? Yes, but I would wager that any performer would rather have a room full of us than a room full of people who are afraid to have a good time.
Yeah.
Especially at a cabaret. Like we don't go see a show and like hoot and holler.
I hope we're self-aware. We are.
I think we are.
Okay.
I think both of us are far too insecure to be to be unaware of how we come off in an audience
Hmm.
situation.
We got to meet listener Jay
We got to
in the
meet
audience.
listener Jay.
He's so
Mhm.
sweet.
Let's talk about Ms. Ellis. You kind of said, I think we were talking over each other, but she is an impeccable voice.
Really pristine voice. I don't know what I was expecting, but it really was just so astonishing how easy she was doing the Broadway belts greatest hits. We got Don't Rain on My Parade, we got I Dreamed a Dream, Always Starting Over, Defying Gravity, Anthem from
Hmm.
Chess. Am I
Hmm.
missing anything?
Somebody to Love. Yeah, she sang
Shallow.
Shallow. Yeah, she sang like all 11 o'clock numbers. Like everything she sang was like the vocally challenging moment of that show.
And everything was easy breezy, carefree. She was having so much fun. It really, I mean, I've never seen her live, and I don't think I realized how excited I was going to be to see her live until it was happening in front of me.
Oh my God, I dreamed a dream.
Yeah, you had a real moment.
I did. She's like absolutely iconic in that role. And to hear it with my ears, you know what I mean? Like so many of those, it's like, yeah, I've seen the boots, I've heard the audios,
Yeah.
but with my own ears live in the room to hear some of that was really, really special.
It reminded me of the feeling when we saw Julia Murney sing How Did We All Come to This from the Wild Party, also at 54 Below. We've had some really special moments at 54 Below.
Yeah, remember when you bought a steak for Julia Murney after her show? You, me, and the
Yes.
Broadway medium.
Yeah, I don't know. I just had it last night. I was like, wow, I will always go to an Elphaba's cabaret at 54 Below because it is a guaranteed perfect evening.
Yeah, I agree. Who else would you like to see?
Well, we should also mention Carrie also kind of announced that she's in the second movie, which I think we kind of knew like
I don't.
before she had told us, I was like, wait, weren't the like London Elphabas in the Wicked movie? And then she said it. She also said she signed an NDA, so maybe we shouldn't be talking about it. But I don't know. Phones were out.
Well, yeah, I mean, she told us she was gonna be in a movie that comes out this year.
Sure. Did I ever say the name of the movie? I don't think I did, right?
I don't think so. So
Oh, great.
she's in a movie that comes out this year.
That was
Um,
perfect.
yeah, and
Tell the listeners what you texted me last night.
so I'm thinking like, where is there room for cameos in part two? And the only existing
Alice
place
Fern
that
is
I can
Glinda's
really,
mom in part
well, I
one.
know that, which didn't feel like a cameo. That felt almost like a coincidence to me because it was
Interesting.
just kind of like, why wouldn't you pick a Glinda to be Glinda's mom if it was like intended to be a
Intentional
cameo?
cameo.
Also, because it's like she didn't even have to sing or anything.
Sure.
You know they were not letting Alice Fern near that score. But I am hoping the only existing place that I can think of for a soloist would be um I hear she has an extra eye that always remains awake. I want that to be one Elphaba. And then the
hmm
next one, another Elphaba, is I hear she can shed her skin as easily as a snake. And then I
You're
want
probably
Carrie
right.
Ellis. I want Carrie Ellis, the highest female solo. I hear some rebel animals are giving her food and shelter. And then I want it to be Norbert Leo Butz. I hear her soul is so unclean. Pure water could melt her.
There was no Norbert in part one. There was such a prime. He could have been long, long ago, long before
Oh my
we
God, if
Bambi
that was
bombed.
Norbert, that would have been
That would have been the moment.
everything. Norbert honestly also could have been Elphaba's dad if we were going that route.
No, that would have been cute. Wow. Imagine Adina as Alphaba's mom doing the piano sit choreography.
That piano boop 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 gets me every time. That's like my exact sense of humor.
Adina would really slay that moment.
Is this like very tactical sound cue happening as they like bump across the piano?
I think you're right. That seems to me where I would stick a bunch of former Alphaba cameos in the second movie.
I hope if that's what it is, I hope it's several formers and not just like three other people and Carrie Ellis. You know what I mean?
Do we think Lucy Jones is in this movie?
I think she told us she wasn't. I think she told us she wasn't because she was in the show when they were filming, I think.
I was going to say, I want to go back and look at which former Alphabas went to the London premiere.
That's interesting.
Let's see,
That's
because I know Carrie was like out and about doing all of the movie stuff.
We'll see.
Yeah, so we'll see. But it was like a really fun evening. We learned some new information. We saw Carrie Ellis sing Defying Gravity live. She did her look.
She did the growl. Also, she served a look, the little jumpsuit.
Yeah, she was serving. Kevin, who do we have on the pod today?
Well, Quincy, today on the podcast, we have an encore appearance by one Ms. Mary Kate Morrissey.
Here for her exit interview with the Sentimental Men.
Her unofficial, official performance review.
Her words.
Her words, yeah, as you will hear. Yeah,
she literally asked us for a performance review, didn't at the end of it, or final remarks
yes,
towards her on.
Yes, she was like, "So, what were my strengths? What could I get better at?" I'm like, everything and nothing is the answer. But no, I'm super excited. I love to have a guest back on the pod. It's always a good time. There's always a good vibe.
And it's a theme. We just had Caroline back after 5 years.
Yeah,
and Mary
it's
Kate
like
on as she's wrapping up her journey.
5 years, Quincy, is insane.
I know. You know what I can't do? I can't go and look at the videos that we posted at the beginning of this podcast because we both looked very different, and it makes me sad.
Mm-hmm.
She's gone when she
used to be mine. That's tragic. But I really liked, because we had this conversation with Mary Kate yesterday, literally like right before seeing Carrie Ellis at 54 Below. And so I feel confident saying to the listeners now that you're in for like a very good conversation with Mary Kate. Her journey, her growth with this role.
Yeah.
I mean, over the last 9 or 10 years, but over the last year even, has just it was really incredible to hear.
Really special. I'm so happy for her. I'm so impressed by her. And I can't wait to see what she does after Wicked.
Same. Winning the US Masters or whatever the golf Super Bowl is.
Should we just refresh the listeners on Miss Mary Kate's resume?
Yeah. So Mary Kate Morrissey in 2015 made her Wicked debut as the Elphaba standby on the second national tour. In 2017, she was moved up to principal Elphaba of the second national tour. In 2019, she was in the original cast of the Mean Girls first national tour as
So your
Gretchen.
best friends could you overact as Gretchen?
Not as Gretchen, as what's her name?
Janice.
Janice. I would be so into the Gretchen too, though.
I want to see her Regina, TBH. I think in her first episode, she told us that she maybe auditioned for Regina as well.
Yeah, and she said she didn't have anything Regina enough to wear to the audition. I remember that
It was
story.
also interesting. Both her and Caroline were like scooping the episode, but like compared the Elphaba personality to the Glinda personality
At the thing.
the Wicked premiere.
Yeah, yeah. I also, not to like scoop the episode, but I also like to the point that this is good. We're giving them things to listen for. I loved, and she goes into a little more depth about this, but I love that Mary Kate has identified herself as like the end of an Elphaba era. Because like we talk about the golden age and then we talk, like we have our different eras.
What is this era called then?
I kind of want to call it the BC era, like before Cynthia.
Cynthia. Okay.
BC, BA, BM before movie. But it's
BM.
interesting to hear a perspective on that from like within.
Yes.
Like it's one thing for like us as fans to be like, oh yeah, like this is an era, this is an era.
Mm-hmm.
But to hear one of the actresses really say, like to use that vocabulary and like talk about that was really interesting.
We should sit down with the timeline in like actually look at it one day because I was thinking last night. Carrie Ellis, in my mind, is the end of the golden age of Broadway, which I think is around 2008,
Mm-hmm.
9.
I think
Carrie Ellis was 2008. She replaced Stephanie J. Block. To me, Carrie Ellis is like the last of that age. And then we move into the like Mandy, DeRossioli, Teal Wicks, Jackie Burns age. And then I think of like Hannah Corneau as the current age that Mary Kate is in, current class.
yeah, I would say, yeah, I think I'm right there with you actually. Because who was before Hannah Corneau?
Was it Jessica Vosk? Maybe Jessica Vosk is that.
I feel like that 15th anniversary cast was very like reminiscent of the original cast. Like I feel like maybe not Marcy Dodd, but like around then through the 15 year, I feel like it was very much like how can we keep the show as close to Adina and Kristen as possible, and then like the Hannah, the Lindsay, the Talia, Mary Kate, Alyssa Joy Fox, like all of those girlies, I feel like were one step away from
Yep.
the archetype.
Yep.
And now we'll have
Whole new era.
post Cynthia era.
BM.
Will we ever have another white Elphaba? I don't know.
I was wondering that if like now
I
it's
kind of
going
feel
to
like
shift towards black. I think it's too soon to tell on it, like because it could be a one-off or it could be a like shift. We gotta see.
Also, I can't wait to see what kind of wig they give her.
Yeah,
Will she have the braids like Cynthia? Will she have the center part like Alexia?
did we finish Mary Kate's resume? That was a
We
crazy
didn't.
tangent.
No, we didn't. So when we started that tangent, we were at 2019 original cast of the Mean Girls tour. In 2021, after the COVID shutdown, she reopened the Mean Girls tour and was famously replaced by one Ms. Lindsay Heather Pierce. In 2023, Mary Kate Morrissey made her Broadway debut in Wicked as the Elphaba standby. And then in 2024, took over as the principal Elphaba on Broadway. And that brings us up to today.
Where she's about to conclude her run.
And honestly, I mean, I don't want to like say conclude her Elphaba journey, but in the progression of like standby to principal to standby to principal, and thinking of the fact that she's been playing this role for 10 years, it's like this really is such a huge chapter for Mary Kate the person, not just like Mary Kate the actress, the Elphaba.
Totally. We have gone on for too long. So let's get into this great conversation with Mary Kate Morrissey.
Enjoy.
All right. We are joined by Mary Kate Morrissey for an encore appearance on Sentimental.
I
How much
said
longer do you
men.
have left in the show?
I have a month. Almost. It's today's the last day of January, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
February is my last month.
Oh man.
Okay.
Yeah,
How are we
I
feeling?
know. I was just for your listeners, I was telling the set men that this feels like my exit interview. Like okay, now I've done it. Now it's all wrapping up. We gotta put a little bow on it.
I think last time we spoke was right before you went in full time, right?
You were
I
standby.
think that I was standing by.
And we didn't know you were going in yet.
No.
Okay, so I guess let's start there. Talk to us about how lead came your way.
I'm sure that I haven't listened to our last episode, but I feel like I probably told you guys there's always that sort of like, can I do it? Hesitancy about it. It's such a big gig. And because I was going on so much, I really kind of felt like I could. So I said to Lisa Liguio, our associate director, I'm your girl. Like, it's me. If you guys give it to me, yeah, it's me.
It's me.
I was like, I'm doing it. I'm doing it so much right now that I know I can, and I know that I will like keep the show safe. Um, and she was like, yeah, rah, 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 you blah blah blah, right? And so I saw an audition, even though I was like on probably like 3 or 4 times a week, 5 times a week, 6 times, like it was
Wow.
nuts. And she would be like seeing the show. And she's like, yes. And I'm like, yes. Then I would get into the room to do the audition. And she's like, it's not translating. I'm like, that's because it's theater. And I'm like, what I am doing is for 1900, not for an iPhone. You know what I mean?
Right.
So she tried to like bootleg the show. That didn't work. And then I went. It was really fun to be auditioning though, because I got to read with like all the people they were bringing in for Fiero and things like that. There was like guys from Hamilton or guys from like all these different. It was really fun, and I just knew that I had to be so good. Like I had to be so good in the show that it made their job easy. Like why would you look somewhere else if what you need is right in front of you and ready?
Right.
So I was just like, I just have to be every single show I did, I treated it like an audition.
I remember Jenny DeNoia telling us that when she was in a similar position moving from standby to Broadway, she was like, I had to go audition and I literally had the freaking green like still in my ears from performing the night before. And like, the like mind trick that comes with having to like audition for the job you're already doing.
And what was crazy that at both times I had to put myself on tape and audition, I was on that night. And so I'd be like, I have to go right now because they're gonna paint me in 5 minutes. Yeah, like I'm so sorry. I don't want to sing Defying Gravity another time because I have to go do it tonight live. So
Right.
so they ended up giving me the gig, which is like amazing. I was definitely like hesitant when I got it. I was like, well, I remember telling my husband like I got the full-time gig and he was like, are we happy? Are we allowed to be happy about this? And I was like, yeah, we're happy. This is like because this is the victory lap. This is like the big dream come true. And now at the end of it, I'm like, I can say I've done it.
Well, it's interesting. I was listening back to the episode we did a long time ago, and I feel like a common through line in that conversation was just kind of your mental health journey with the role and feeling confident within yourself. And it felt like you were kind of in a middle of the road place with how you felt about the performance you were giving in Elphaba. But it seems like we got to a very confident place by the time it came to go in for
Yeah,
lead.
definitely. I definitely felt like I was a great Elphaba. And why would they not want me to do it all the time? So
Yeah.
and that took like obviously took like a lot of work, but I just kept working and working and working and working in the rehearsal room and my voice lessons and just trying to get better, 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 better.
I also feel like that whole year of the 20th, like all of the like promotional stuff, you were there. You were like doing Broadway Con, you were doing Comic Con, all of anytime Wicked needed a
The
girl,
Comic
it
Con
was
performance.
never
Oh,
forget.
never forget. Let David Stone forget, but never forget us. Like
The
it,
fluorescent
because
lights.
they did not tell us that it was going to be like fluorescent lights. I think David wouldn't have let me do it, but it
Yeah.
was.
Enter from the back of the conference room.
I was on that night too. Like it was crazy because I was doing all of that promo stuff. I was doing it almost felt like me and Marissa Gonzalez, who's like
Yeah.
our head of marketing.
Yeah.
It almost felt like we were campaigning for me to be the next Elphaba, and she was like, "We are doing this." And
Yeah.
but then I was like, on the campaign trail and also doing the job. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
I feel like you did the kind of like old school journey of like tour standby, tour principal, Broadway standby, Broadway principal, which is such um a sort of logical progression to make through the company. In what ways did that kind of prepare you to take on the role principal on Broadway?
I have 9 years of character study under my belt. Like
9, holy shit.
I know her like the back of my hand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There is
Because you
nothing
started in
that
2015.
yes.
Wow.
It's a 10-year journey. When I started playing her, I knew nothing about myself the way that I do now. I knew nothing about her the way I do now. And just from doing it so many times in so many different conditions, I feel like I that is something where nothing can shake me on stage. And it's so fresh every night because I am just like letting myself be surprised and authentically react as her because I know how she would.
Right.
So I feel like that is something that I'm grateful for. I know that not everybody wants to go the standby route. Like we have Lincia coming in right away into the
Brand
chair,
new.
and I haven't done that in a long time. And I am grateful for my standby gig because it helped me digest all of these things about her that I needed to learn slowly. Like, I don't think I was, I think I would have been a completely different Elphaba if I hadn't had the chance to like do the show a couple times and then think about what went wrong and take that to my voice teacher or take that to my acting coach and be like, how can I make this better? What's the vibe here? Like, and work on it that way. And I think that that is like, I I don't know. I feel like it was a gift. And also gift of like work. That was employment. You know what I mean? That was solid employment with the big green machine. Like and I
Government
feel like
job.
government job, maybe corporate theater, but also like those people I've just become so close to and the culture of Wicked, I am so like deeply ingrained in. You know what I mean? Like when something goes down at the theater and I'm like, "This is my house.
Right.
Do we need to talk?" Like, this is my house. What happened?" You know?
It is like even the small touch points that and I have had with like Wicked LLC and being wrapped into that whole group. It does really feel like a solid family that once you're in, if you are along for the ride, they will take good care of you.
Yeah, definitely. And we also like ride for each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, what was going into this principal Broadway contract? What was your main objective? Having done the role in all its various forms before, what did you really want to do with this principal contract?
Uh when I started, I wanted to make it out alive.
Hmm.
I was like, you know what I want to do? I want to make it out alive.
I want to
I
finish.
want to finish. I want to finish strong because it's not common to. And um And then as I started getting going, I did you guys ever listen to that show? Oh my gosh, now I can't even remember the name of it. It's Hunter Bell's show. But there's that song, I'd rather be 9 people's favorite thing than 100
Then a
people's ninth
hundred
favorite.
people's my favorite thing.
And
Yeah.
I had so many people tell me that I was like their fourth favorite Alphaba, or I was like their friend's favorite Alphaba. And people are like, "Yeah, you're my fourth favorite Alphaba." And I'm like, I'm like, that's cheeky, and I'm acknowledging that because no, you should never tell someone that.
Right.
Like that's ridiculous. And I get it. Like love being in the lot. I love having Adina and Shoshana and Cynthia and all these
Right.
people above me. I get it. I love being fourth. Fourth I could take. But I remember thinking like as people started telling me you're my favorite Elphaba, I was like, that is what I want. I want to be like a whole group of people's first favorite because I'm the one that they saw on Broadway. And so that was one of my objectives just by just doing a good job. And then my other objective was to just like try on the qualities of leadership that come with leading a big Broadway blockbuster like this and see how I respond and see what I can learn and see how malleable I can become and strong I can become in a role like that.
Talk to us a little bit more about that. What does that leadership look like?
I mean, it's managing personalities, it's managing expectations and pressure, it's saying no to things, it's saying yes to things when you don't want to do it. It's getting your ass to the show and it's knowing when to call out. It's supporting your standby, it's supporting like the other people in the roles. I just felt like there was so much opportunity for interpersonal dynamic learning. Um, being like the star of the show and also being able to be like, but I need to know everyone on the crew's name and also their wife's name. And also, I want to know like what's happening to my friends in the ensemble. What auditions are they going to? What injuries do they have? You know what I mean? And sort of,
Yeah.
and when you're not in that big role, it's different. It's you can still do all of those things, and you should. But I think because there's so much on your back as it is, to see how much you can carry at once.
And it's interesting because I feel like everybody says playing Elphaba, like from the downbeat to the end of the show, is can be so lonely because you're by yourself the whole show, you're isolated on stage, but the other 21 hours of the day, it's the opposite of that. You're saying you're like nothing but involved with people and like making sure that those connections are there.
Yeah. I will say though, like I don't feel lonely in the role at all. And I think the reason is because I have the best dresser in the world. Like Jessica Larson, I don't know if you guys have met her. She's literally with me off stage every single change. Every single time I'm off stage, she is right there and she is bright and like just so generous. You know what I mean? She always has whatever I need, but she's also always looking at me in my eyes and letting me know that I'm not alone doing this. You know what I mean? So I think that like her also look at this is like a metaphor for how I'm doing right now. This is a metaphor. But she is like I think she is the reason why I felt lonely on the road because you're of a different dresser in every city. You know what I mean? But I think that Jessica Larson is like a gift to the Gershwin Theater because of her involvement, and I'm really excited for Lencia and her to grow a relationship like from what Jess and I learned doing it together. You know?
That's interesting. We haven't had a lot of people talk about the value of your dresser and like
Oh my
the
God.
difference that that can make, as much as we've heard people say like how difficult it can be going from city to city and having to kind of like coach a dresser through this mammoth
Yeah.
task.
I mean, she is like best.
Was this principal run a walk in the park for you? It feels like you're very settled and dropped in right now.
Honestly, it wasn't.
Okay.
And I was presented with a lot of challenges that I had to work myself through. And I'm in therapy, which has been really, really, really good. Like that has absolutely saved me, I think. Just to be like, okay, just to have someone be like, be angry about this. And I'm like, I'm angry about it or whatever it is. Because you can't take that into work, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I feel like I've figured out ways to really healthfully get through the run, but also I feel like I'm dropped in because my identity isn't rooted in playing Elphaba. Like that is not the only interesting thing about me. And right now, I love being like my friend's favorite friend of a friend to talk about, like, oh yeah, our friend is playing off of how cool is that? But I do think like afterwards, like I, I'm trying to separate myself and not let that sort of the celebrity of it all and the all encompassing work of it all define me. So I feel like that has been really helpful because I go to work and I can play this role, but I'm also like, this is my job and I'm going to be done in a month and I'm ready.
Yeah.
Like, and that's, and that's great, you know?
Yeah, what? Because you are playing Elphaba at a time when it is like arguably the most popular time to be playing Elphaba. What has it been like to be doing the stage show during this whole movie bonanza?
I mean, I think the biggest difference is that the ticket prices have changed. But like
Yeah.
we don't benefit from the movie in a really super tangible way. Like the audiences have always been psyched to see Wicked. Like
Yeah,
we have always had massive crowds seeing Wicked. Wicked has always been like 90% sold.
that
Now we're
girl.
99% sold. Like we are that girl. We've been that girl. And I think that I'm excited. What I'm noticing now that the holidays are over is that we're having first time viewers, which is really fun. And you can tell because the reactions in the second act are loud.
Oh, that's interesting.
That is different.
That is interesting. And probably people who have only seen the movie coming,
Yes.
Being like, whoa.
learning that second act.
Yes. Yes.
He turns into what?
Exactly. Where'd she go? So that has been really, really fun. And of course, there's been like so much opportunity for engagement this year
Right.
because everyone is looking at Wicked. And it's not just the people who always were, it's like a whole new group of people who love Wicked because of the movie and because of all of
Like
the
normal mainstream people.
normal mainstream people.
Yeah.
And that is really, really fun. So fun. But what is different is like, I feel like for me personally, because I love social and love creating, I feel like I've had a lot more opportunity to um let people into what it's like to play like Elphaba on Broadway. And
Right.
people are interested in seeing that because they already like know the story from the movie.
Yeah, let's talk about that because you have become a like main fixture of my FYP.
Crazy.
A couple things. How did you decide to start really leaning into that? And also, it is such a touch point for Wicked on like how
Yes.
much we can document of our backstage life. What have those
Yes.
discussions been like?
Well, I've always loved to make content. I mean, like, if the real ones know, like me and GC were like rewriting the
Yeah.
lyrics to other musicals and putting them in Oz, like when we were on tour in
Right.
2017. Like, we have been doing weird, funny stuff for us for forever. And then like last year with Allie, like I love Allie so much. So we were like, all right, we're sitting around, let's make some videos, do that kind of thing. But I feel like with this, I really wanted to I think I got sick of people being like, "You just work at night." And I was like, "I feel like y'all don't know what goes into this." And so the first
Yeah, a football
couple
player only works at night too.
Yeah, exactly. So the first couple of videos I made of like the ordinary day were received in such a way, especially by people I admire in other roles, that I was like, because they were like, "You are showing something that I know that is real, that I feel seen by watching her," and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna keep doing this because this is fun." And it's also something that I could do by myself, like, quietly. So I was like, "Love this." And then the Degreen and Yap was just, like, always a part of those videos, and then I was like, "I think people might actually just be interested in seeing me talk about something." So some days
Yeah.
I'm just like, if I'm feeling good, I'd boop, or if I have something to say, put my phone up, and then what's great is that I just edit them on my ride home and post them as soon as I get off the train. That's like I give myself like a challenge. I have the 40 minutes to edit it and then post it. And it just like gets me out of the show, gets me out of whatever I'm doing and into something else. It's been just like fun.
And then you're done with the show when you get home, like
Yeah.
yeah, that's nice. I am so jealous of like teenagers who are like experiencing Wicked with you as Elphaba for the first time. Cause like if I had somebody like pumping out this content of like, here's what it's like to be Elphaba, I would have eaten that. I mean, I'm 33 and I'm eating that shit up. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm like, on behalf of all of the youth, it's like, thank you for that because there is a kind of like Quincy was saying, there is a shroud of mystery
Yeah.
around the offstage of Elphaba, and it's like been I think one of my favorite parts of the movie experience has been like all of those behind the scenes featurettes that we're getting of like the costumes and the this and the that, and so then to be like, oh, and here's what it's like to be in the Broadway show too is just
I think people
amazing.
think that it's like glamour. People assume that it's like really glamorous, and what I think I wanted to show is that it's actually a lot of grit. Like it's grit and it's dedication and it's disciplined. It's not like I'm not like flying high, going to parties and then can go and do the show. It's like so strictly and I wanted people to see that within the structure that you make for yourself there is freedom because that can apply across so many different things.
And what I've really appreciated about it all is there's such a lane of content for the consumer side of theater, and they oftentimes will chime in about larger industry discussions, but there's always a missing layer of knowledge on the back end of things. And you
Mhm.
have like used your platform to kind of dispel some of the things that the larger discourse has taken a hold of.
For sure, for
Hmm.
sure.
I would imagine it'll be nice for you a year from now, 2 years from now, 10 years from now, to have like a little diary
Yeah.
of your time in this awesome experience.
Yeah, I keep thinking like my friend Sam Gravett told me that I should be journaling all the time, and this is sort of like my way of doing that because I like this better. And I know that it feels like sometimes I'm like, wow, should I really be sharing all this stuff because some of this is private? But then it's a little bit like, who cares? You know what I mean? Like I don't have anything to. I have only things to offer in this moment, and so why not share it?
Something I love that you bring to a lot of your content is like you were saying, the specificity and the what was the word that you just used? The like discipline of the role, and like you'll make this content, I think like in the last couple days where you were like, well, this feels better, but now like this ear feels weird, and like that's gonna affect my, and it's like all of these things that like if you just watch the movie over Christmas break, you're not thinking, oh yeah, like these little itty bitty things can be affecting this huge performance. Um, have you found any like increased grace being given to you because you're sharing so much of your day to day?
I think that I've had people say like, "Wow, I didn't realize was like this." You know what I mean? But I do think I was hoping to be extended grace with some of this stuff, especially around sickness, because like everybody, anytime I would post about being sick or having my ears clogged or anything, I'd have like 150 people being like, "Oh my god, my ears clogged too." You share what you
Yeah.
found, or like, "Oh my gosh, I've had laryngitis for the last 3 weeks. Help! What are you doing?" Blah blah blah. And I'm like and so you have like that side of it that's like, "Oh, we're all sick," which is great. And then you have the other side of it, people being like, "Wow, you're sick a lot," and it's like, no, I'm sharing when when you are sick, you can do your job. When you have a cold, you can do your job. When I had a cold, I could play Janice. Like
Oh, interesting.
you can do anything. But when I'm playing Elphaba, it is a different beast, and I am like losing my mind getting myself well because I want to be in as many shows as possible. And so it's hard when people don't see that I'm sharing this to be like, I'm trying to get back. I'm trying to get back. I'm showing you what I'm doing to get back. I'm not showing you what I'm doing to because I'm out. Do you
Right.
know what I mean?
Right.
And I've actually had like a very, very healthy run. Um, and haven't had like any major injury or any major sickness that has taken me like out of the show for an extended period of time. And I sometimes I worry about like sharing all of the hardship of it will define the my like run long
Your
term.
legacy. Yeah.
So I have to be a little bit careful about that, but it's also like so normal for people to like be sick in New York in the winter and that just like fucking is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like you're an alphabet who is in the show. It's not like you have this air around you of calling out.
Yeah, I don't
No.
think.
No. I mean, I hope not. I mean, I do like 6 or 7 shows a week.
So, what has been the high and low of this principal contract?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think that the high has got to just to like be doing it and like be the girl in the chair and have the authority of that and be in like like owning it, the ownership, like letting myself really feel the ownership of it and letting myself like pat myself on the back for doing it. and doing a good job, because I do believe that I'm doing a good job. That's probably the other best part, is that I actually truly believe that I'm doing a good job. And I go out there every night thinking
You sound
like,
so
That's
therapized.
such
I love
a
it.
shift. Yes. This
I
is such a
know,
shift from the last time we spoke to you. It
I
makes me so
know.
happy.
But I believe it. I believe it. And I feel like I'm really proud of that shift. It was a mindset shift. And I feel like once I started to like let myself enjoy it and think like no, I've got this. I felt like my show just got better and better and better and better and better. And I felt more comfortable and safe and grounded and real in it. And so I'm really, really proud of all of the work that has gone into that to get me to the place where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go do Wicked, you know?
Yeah.
It's good, and it's gonna be, and I know it's gonna be great. And I'm not like stressed about it. Um, I think that that has been like the major highlight. I feel so confident and I feel so positive, and I feel like I feel like I'm riding a wave of opportunity right now. Like some sort of like momentum has like unlocked inside of me that has made it so that I can operate at such a high level during the show and also do like 1,000 other things. So I think that that has been like seeing that like again, like seeing the limit that I set on myself pushed even further than what I thought I was capable of, I think is the
Well, the self-confidence you've grown has allowed you to be more hungry for work and
yeah,
opportunity.
for sure. For sure. So that, and then I think that the pit has probably been, God, I've had such a good time. Honestly, the pit of this is that I had a couple opportunities to do it with GC and it didn't happen. I feel like I feel like is probably the pit that GC and I at the end of this still haven't closed our loop, you know, as like very best friends in the whole world and something that like brought us together. We still haven't gotten to like sing for good on the Broadway stage.
Mm-hmm. That'd be special. Yeah.
It'd be special, but and it's probably not meant to happen, which is why it didn't. But
Listen, there's plenty of time. Who knows what the future will bring?
that's fair. You never leave, Wicked.
Can we talk about your Glinda? And because Alex came in brand new, so was there any sort of like, hey girl, here's how we do things around here. I got you. Talk to us about that relationship.
So she's a pro. She has worked on Broadway so much. This is, I think, her fourth or fifth Broadway show. Like she has, I think she encountered some like blocks when it came to like or she encountered some resistance when it came to the way that Wicked does things.
Right.
But she's a pro and she adapted and is malleable and professional and like figured it out for herself. And I I love doing the show with her. I think that she is a deeply moving Glinda. She's
Such an inspired
always,
portrayal.
yeah, like she is not there for the laughs at all. She is there to connect every single night. And I'm really lucky that I got someone who's like that because that's how I feel too. And so at the end of the day, I think it was a really, really good pairing. And I'm like really like happy to be a colleague of hers and know her. And it's been really great. And I like our show so much. So
You've told us that you believe you're an actor first, Elphaba, and Alex seems
mhm,
very much of that same ilk. So it is
100%.
a
Yeah.
very perfect pairing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To say
I think
nothing of your
it's
amazing vocals.
Thank you.
yeah. Well, and you said like last time is like all of your vocals come from the acting. Like if the belief is not there,
Hmm.
the voice is not going to be there.
Hmm.
And that's so tangible between the two of you. You mentioned before having the wherewithal, this contract to like be doing all this other stuff outside of playing the role. One of which is becoming a golf influencer,
Right?
which is insanely cool.
Random.
I love all the fits. So my two-part question is like, one, where did that come from? And two, what would your advice be to future Alphabas about having like a
A
non-wicked,
hobby.
yeah, like an outlet,
Oh my
a nice
gosh.
quiet hobby?
I couldn't have set myself up for success better by picking up a hobby right before playing this role because otherwise I'd be in here just like, you know what I mean? and I had something else to go and learn and go and like escape to. And like golf is kind of like yoga. Like every single little movement is very, very specific. So like anything you do will change the whole shape. Just like in yoga, as soon as like you're done with the pose, like change the shape. And step, 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 like that. And I had so much to learn. So it was just like so fun. But I picked up the game because my mom wanted me to play. And she was like, If you want to hang out with me, you got to learn how to play golf." And I was like, "Well, you're my best friend. So that's what we're doing." And so I like convinced a simulator in my neighborhood to give me lessons. I took a lesson every single week for like 25 weeks or something with the same instructor, Kyla Williams at Golf U2, and it was really fun. And now I have this like fu- for me, it was just like hobby, like how fun I can go and play outside. Like me and Libby Lloyd going to the pitch and putt on a Wednesday in the morning instead of like sitting in bed and rotting all day. We would just go to the pitch and putt and be outside for a couple hours, like swinging the golf club. Like it's just been so fun. But the other part of it is like someone was watching me and was like, "Hey, she's golfing," to golf people. And then golf people were like, "Who is this?" Like, "Oh, a theater person golfing? How,
She can't do
where?"
that.
Yeah, what?
Huh?
And then the Golf Digest article. So I did the whole Golf Digest article about, because there
Yeah.
really is, there's so much crossover between golf and theater. It's like absolutely insane. Like when people are like, "How do you play the same course every day? And it's
Hmm.
still fun for you?" It's like, "Well, how do you do the same show every day?" Well, the elements are always different. The way I feel is always different. The swing is just a little bit different. The way I'm singing is like, it's all the same.
Yeah.
So that has been so fun. And then since the Golf Digest article came out, everybody wants to talk to me. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I know. And it's like be like a girl in golf, and everyone's like sending me. I have more golf clothes than I could ever, want
I
for.
know. They're
It's crazy.
gorgeous.
They're gorgeous, and like my whole like March and April of this like upcoming year is just like all golf.
That'll be nice to kind of close the Wicked chapter and then put your thoughts elsewhere for a little bit.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah,
Anytime somebody's like, "Oh yeah, I'm leaving Wicked and I'm starting such and such tour," or like going right to a regional, I'm like, "Aren't you tired though?
it
Like,
couldn't be
aren't
me.
aren't you craving a nap?"
Couldn't be me. It's not even like the nap that I need. I need to like completely factory reset. Like, I need to not worry about laughing out loud and how that's going to affect my performance that night. Like, I need to like laugh. I need to like laugh without fear. And I need to like have a couple cocktails with my friends, and I need to
Yeah.
spend a couple nights with my husband. Like, I need to not be, and I don't like my value right now. Did this big huge year and made all this money, and I've socked it away, and I don't need to like move to something for financially right now. Like I just there's no the only reason I would move is because of ego, and I don't need like a show to boost my ego right now. I feel like I'm on top of the world.
Although you have said in a recent interview that you hope your next acting gig is
The
harder than
six. Oh.
Elphaba.
I kind of hope it's six, but
That's a
but
cushy gig.
look at you guys. It's 90 minutes.
90 minutes,
90.
one song.
One
One song.
song.
Which one? Which one?
Aragon.
Oh,
I
wow.
think it'd be
Okay.
so fun. So fun. Or Cleves. I feel like Cleves would be so fun too if they'd let me play her.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like my fever dream is like six Elphabas.
Elphaba.
Elphabas and Glindas as
It's an easy show to cast with Elphabas.
Oh, yeah. I remember Jackie Burns was like, "Hey, can you teach me the dance call for this?" And I was like, "Jackie."
Or what about a short stint in Titanic? Just like as a fun little quickie.
Oh, that'd be fun too. Yeah, I would do that for sure. I feel like that's like the Wicked Titanic pipeline, baby. Is
Yeah.
yes. That's because everyone wants to go do something fun. Everyone's like,
exactly.
give me some giggles.
It's funny. Everything that's been coming in has been like in a different country. It's like, do you want to go do Miss Saigon in like a UK tour? Or do you want to do Gatsby in South Korea? And I'm like,
Right.
so right now my agents are like, we are not doing anything outside of New York. You are prepared to not work on Broadway for the next year and prepare to like be boots on the ground building things from the ground up, and we are gonna get you like you're gonna originate a role. You're gonna work with teams that you really want to work with, and that is where we're gonna put all of our focus and all of our energy.
And does that feel aligned with your spirit right now?
Yeah, yeah, because like that, I think would be the next challenge.
Because you've not originated, right? You've originated, opened a tour, but not originated the role, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just need to like sit. I just want to sit down and just be here and keep myself in this like really positive, like high vibrational place and just see what happens and see what I can make, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the movie of it all.
Yeah.
What was your first experience seeing the movie?
Woo! My first experience seeing the movie was at the one that they threw for all of us.
The friends and
Mhm.
family thing.
You guys were there, right? Were you guys
We
there for
weren't.
that? No, you went to the premiere in LA.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then we went to this like
Mhm.
private one at Universal, which was very,
Okay.
it was like 4 other people and kind of like a
Ooh.
tough audience to be excited about.
Not that.
Yeah. But Caroline gave us her debrief of the Friends and Family premiere, and it was very hilarious. So please tell us your story.
I think that it was such a whirlwind. It was such a whirlwind, and it was also like a day off, right? So like I think all of the other witches coming into it had there was a different vibe than like me and Alexandra, who were looking at each other like we just did 2 shows last night and we still have to do a show tomorrow. So let's keep
Go
it
watch
real.
3 hours of Act
Mhm.
1.
Yeah, exactly. We were like, so that was kind of like a part of my experience was that okay, I just did this twice yesterday and I have to go do it again tomorrow. And I think we may have had a matinee on the next. It was like a weird schedule. And I threw a party beforehand for the Wicked company, which was so fun so that we could all kind of like go over together. And I think the best part about it is that I was seeing the movie with people who cared as much as I did about how it was going to be done. And not in a way that I was like watching to criticize, but watching in a way that this meant something to me. I've been in this world for so long and so have all these people that I know. So that when that first, no one was the wicked, we're all like, everyone is immediately tears, you know? And I got to sit right next to GC and Sosha was right behind me. Like I got to be surrounded by my Glindas. And that was really, really special. Um, and then, there's always like the weirdness of like all the photos in the beginning and stuff like that. That's not like
Did you
really
know that was
my
happening? Caroline had no idea any of that was happening walking in.
I I did know that it was happening. I knew that Getty was going to be there. I knew that like there was going to be like some, I knew that Cynthia and Ari were coming and they were going to
Okay.
take pictures with us too, but the vibe was like it's so I wish you guys could have seen like the difference of the vibe between the Glendas and the Elphabas because like it was like the Glendas were like take another picture of me here it is," like, all this, and then Kristen comes in and they're all like even GC it's like I see like my friends I'm like what is happening and then all the Elphabas are like literally we're all in the corner just like so, like, how are your rehearsals going? Are your rehearsals good? Like, or people being like, "Hey, are you okay? How's it going? Do you need any
Right.
help?" Like, truly, people being like, how are you? Are you okay right now? Can I get you anything?" Like,
Yeah.
there was such a
It's
different
very
vibe that I was
Elphaba
like,
Glinda.
"Oh my God, I know." And I'm in like in the background of some of those photos, just like, you know, but it was really, I mean, it was sweet to meet Cynthia and Ari and
Yeah.
that was all really cool. Something else that was funny about seeing the movie is that I feel like afterwards I was talking to the crew and they were like, "We were running our cues the whole time." Like they're like, "Oh my God, we gotta get the statue down," but there's all this extra time so that was
Yeah.
all really fun and funny. And obviously the movie is like so special and so beautiful.
Yeah. What were your immediate takeaways from the movie?
I think my immediate takeaways that was that like I love that they showed Ozda's ballroom from Elphaba's perspective and not from Glinda's perspective because in the show I feel like it's very much from Glinda's perspective. Like Glinda's at the front of the stage, Elphaba comes down and we're watching her watch her. And we're watching everything through Glinda's eyes. We're seeing how like the audience is laughing when Elfie is dancing because
Right. Like it's very played for laughs on stage.
and And then Glinda comes in and makes it all better. She takes like the hardness of it and she softens it and makes it sweet and gets everybody on board. And that's like that is her superpower. That is what she does in the show. But in the movie, it's so different. It's told from Elphaba. Elphaba has the power in that moment. And
That's so
I
fascinating.
I thought that that was like a really, really interesting, bold, different, like sort of change in the
Yeah.
storytelling of it. That was really cool.
MK, you and Lissa and a third person made like a trailer watch video, like a
Yeah.
first reaction video, and ingrained in my mind is your reaction to them hugging in that scene. I know, me too. Me too. And it's
Ah,
like I think something that's so beautiful about the movie, and especially like thinking about the act or the singing coming from acting, is there, like you said, there's just so much more room
yeah.
for them to have this emotional journey. And then obviously they're two of like the sickest singers in the world.
Yeah, the voices are insane.
That then when the singing comes from that,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I wish the stage show could be 6 hours long. Not for you all, but for us. Like,
Yeah.
She's like, no.
There are some things that I wish that made it into I wish would like make it into the stage. The stage show will never change, but like
Yeah.
one thing from Ozdust that I wish would make it in is not even the hug. It's when Ari says it's okay.
Hmm.
mhm,
Or doesn't she say something like she reaches up and she's like, it's okay. Yeah, and
Wipes a
wipes the
tear.
tear. Like
yeah.
that got because in that moment I'm like, that
And when she
is
says no to Fanny and Shen Shen, when they're like, what are you doing? She's like, No."
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
like, I think that all of those little added moments really clarify the chunk of their friendship between Popular and Defying Gravity
yeah,
is so, there's like no book scenes in the show that
yeah,
like explore their friendship in that way. We just kind of are like, oh, she took her glasses off, she put a flower in her hair, now they're friends. They're good now. But to see those moments really explored,
yeah,
I too wish that some of that could make it into the show.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that all it's kind of unsaid on stage and can't always read because the house is so big. So when you put words to it, it's like I'm like, yes, that's exactly what that actor should be thinking in that exact moment, and they're saying it. I
Yeah.
wish that we could do that, you know?
So then what was it like to see the movie, know that the movie has turned into such this cultural moment, and then be actively having to tell that same-ish story on stage? Are you able to separate it? Do you feel pressure to incorporate some elements, or are you doing your thing?
No, I mean, it's they really have ingrained in us that it's so separate, but also like, and I've said this on my social, like Cynthia had so much agency in creating Elphaba. Like she had so much say. She had so much, it was such a collaborative effort on her part.
Yeah.
And like from the braids to the nails to the way she sung things to the
Right.
like the way they dressed her. And that is not what happens on Broadway. And
Yeah.
so like I could
Mhm.
never play Cynthia's Elphaba because that is not the Elphaba that we're doing. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's just different. And that is beautiful. And I'm so glad that we have the opportunity to have that like immortalized in the movie. Like how cool that someone got to really with their full self into it and have it fit them and catered to them. Whereas on Broadway, I feel like we are finding ways to try on the qualities of Elphaba and use that in the story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not ourself in it, but actually just trying on like what we have from the text, what we have from the design. So like there is no way for me to play that side of it because that's not the show that is every night on Broadway. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, Cynthia was allowed to bring so much of Cynthia to the role.
Hmm.
And I think too like a less self-confident actress playing this role on Broadway when the movie came out could have gotten stuck in that pressure
Yeah.
a little easier. You know what I mean? Like I think it would be easy to get into self-comparison when like the biggest movie in the world is also your job every night.
Yeah, but they're still on their feet at every single curtain call. And I truly I can't do anything better than what I'm doing right now. Like I'm doing my very, very best every single show. And that they like I'm in the track right now, so I'm who you're gonna see. Like,
Ooh!
you know what I mean? Like it's like that's just and that just like kind of is what it is. So
Yeah.
that's something that I'm not in control of, and that's something that like I can't apologize for. I can only be like, hey, I have worked my entire career for this moment, and I'm gonna do my very best for you. And that's like kind of enough. Um, I think personally. And so I feel like I don't feel like the comparison thing is something we've all like, oh my God, like she doesn't sound like
Yeah.
Jess Vosk. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So like that has been like the story the whole time. You have to sort of shake that off your back and not let it get to you as it is.
I guess it's just one more Elphaba to be compared to.
It's just one more
Now you're the fifth
Elphaba.
instead of the fourth.
Exactly. I'm
Yeah.
like, whatever. And hopefully, and you know what? I know too that like going down the line, people will be compared to me.
Yep.
Like, and maybe maybe I'll get lost to the ether. Maybe like no one will remember. That will be like the
No.
Elphaba that no one remembers. And who cares? At the end of the day, who cares? But like, but I do know that like Lencia coming in will be compared to me for good or for bad or like
Hmm. Yeah.
it just is what it is. It's just and she'll be compared to Cynthia too. Like
Yeah.
it's
Hmm.
all it just
Totally.
is what it is. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about this next duo coming in because we have Ali Trim, who you stood by with, and Lencia, which is like a major moment for Wicked Broadway.
Massive, massive.
Have we talked to either of them since the announcement? Or I'm
Oh,
sure you found out
yes.
ahead of time.
Lindsay is in the building now.
Wow. Okay,
I
tell us
know,
about that.
which is like a whole nother thing.
That's
Actually,
early for her to be in the building, yeah?
yeah, so they gave her, I think, 5 weeks.
Wow.
Wow.
Usually
Good.
Yeah,
it's 2, right? 2 or 3.
I think I had 3. Um, but and then they're taking Jordan out of a lot of shows to rehearse with her, which is tough for me because I'm like, that's my Fiero. Um,
Yeah.
but they're taking him out of a lot of shows to rehearse, which is like is what it is. Um,
Is she shadowing
I
you yet, or is that later?
No, but she's gonna do a lot of shadowing, I think, which will be
Okay.
great. From what I have talked to her just from voice notes and things like that, like
Yeah.
I couldn't be more excited and feel like safe passing the wand, the broom to her. Like she is, first of all, she's like an immense talent. Like I don't know
Hmm.
if you guys have heard her sing, but
Oh
she is an
yeah. Hmm.
immense talent. She has led a major like show before,
A big
Hmm.
and
corporate show, yeah.
a massive
Yeah.
she's used to this dynamic. It's not gonna affect her in that way. I mean, it'll affect her, but she'll know how to handle it. And also like she has all of us rooting for her. I think everybody in the world is rooting for her. Everybody in the world was ready for Wicked to have a black Elphaba. And now we do. And so I think everyone just wants her to succeed. And however I can help her succeed, that is what I want. You know what I mean?
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. I'm psyched for her. I hope that she feels settled in the role as soon as possible so that she can let herself enjoy the rest of the ride. You know what I mean? And not have it just be about doing the show. And so that she can like because the whole second movie's gonna come out. She's gonna get to do all that stuff. Like I bet you Cynthia's gonna come and see her in it. Like she's
Yeah.
like
Wow.
people people are gonna know her name and that is amazing.
Yeah.
And
It is such a
so
crazy time to be taking on a new role, taking on Elphaba, brand new on Broadway, with all of the movie press happening as well.
I know. So that's why I feel like as many people as can be her cheerleaders and on her support team and rooting for her, that is like what Wicked needs. You know what I mean? We only want to see her fly and do the fucking best job. We want her to be the best alphabet ever. You know what I mean?
And she has Allie, who's comfortable in this machine already.
Yeah. And Allie is like, what? Like, if you're gonna have someone next to you, it's like to have Allie Trim. Like, I think that I was a little bit heartbroken when I heard that Allie was gonna do it because I was looking at Jordan going, wow, Oscapella could have been the trio on stage. You know what I mean? Like, it could have been
Yeah.
Oscapella. I mean, I'm so lucky with Sosha, but I heard it was Allie, I was like,
Now, Allie.
I know. But I'm really I think and they're both really tall. Like I think it's gonna look good. I think that Allie, I mean, they both seem like really like cool vibey chicks too. So I feel like they're
Yeah.
gonna be good friends. Content's gonna be there. Like we're gonna have
Yeah.
lots, we will be fed, you know.
And I just think the show is going to feel so fresh with Lincia. I think it's going to be a really new, good chapter turn for the stage production.
Well, it has to, right? Because this will be the first time that there will be replacements who have all seen the movie. Like, this is the first time that the people doing the show will be influenced by the movie, whereas everyone before, their shows were built without it.
Yeah. And Lincia's building it from scratch.
You know what I mean? Like we're the last of the old guard, you know?
Wow.
And so now the new guard is coming in. So I feel like I'm the end of a big chapter. And I feel proud of that. And I also feel really excited and proud for like the next chapter of Wicked to happen. Because like Lord knows it needed to.
Really exciting.
Yeah.
Okay. Last time we spoke, you had told us that you were feeling like a defying gravity Elphaba, and
Yeah.
that had also evolved, and you started as a wizard in Elphaba. Where do you feel like you land on the spectrum now as you close out your Broadway principal contract?
I have been a no good deed Elphaba for a couple months now. Like
Only a
big
couple
time.
months.
Yeah, only a couple months. And just being like, and I like what you see is what you get. Like this is it. This is who I am. I am wicked. I am not wicked. Make up your mind. Like whatever. I'm just literally gonna keep doing me. And so and I love singing that song so much right now. Like it's just like I just feel like it's like I love singing that. So, but I feel like I'm moving now into like I'm moving into For Good Elphaba, which is like because it's been so long, you guys. Like it's been so long.
It's a big chunk of your life, like early 20s to early 30s without playing Elphaba is like a huge journey to go on.
And to even like from like our last podcast to this one, I'm a
Yeah.
different person.
You are.
And that is because of this gig and because of playing this part and being a part of the show. And so I feel like ready to leave it, very much ready to leave it, ready to just like close it, close the Grimmery. But I'm also like, wow, I'm like I truly have been changed for good by the experience of it.
And what a beautiful blessing to be able to leave proud of what you've done.
I know, I feel really lucky. That's therapy for you.
I mean,
Yeah.
Mary Kate, like my heart is warmed. Your journey has been so beautiful. It's so amazing to see where you have landed with it all after this time. Just congratulations on a amazing run.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And that concludes the exit interview. You may leave.
Yes, you may
How
leave.
did I do? What are my closing remarks from my bosses? What are my closing remarks? What's most improved?
Most improved is the mental health. Like, I remember
Definitely.
the last interview, we ended that, and I was like, what? Where is this girl's head at? Like, she is like not seeing the reality of what she's serving. And it's like so beautiful to see that you are really living in it now.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels like you're able to step outside of the machine more now than the last time we spoke to you, which, like, I mean, we speak to full
Everybody.
spectrum of experiences with
Mhm.
this role. There's people who like hang up with us and they're like, I'm never doing this fucking show again. And then there's people who are like, I will do this show for 5 years if they ask me to. And it's just like to see you go from one extreme to the other. Not those two extremes, but to go on such a journey personally over this contract is really, like Quincy said, it warms my heart to see.
Thank you guys.
Now, what are your final remarks for the new guard of actresses going into Wicked?
Woo! My final remarks for the new guard would be assemble your team of Avengers. Only surround yourself with people who are rooting for you. And find ways to enjoy it. I remember Talia Suskauer said to me, I was like, wow, this feels really, really hard right now during the summertime. I was like, I just feel like I feel like I go to sleep and I wake up and it's, no, it can't be Dr. Dillon. No, it can't be Dr. Dillon. No, it can't be Dr. Dillon. I was like, this feels really hard. And Talia was like, you are going to miss this. At some point, this is going to be over. And she had just left the year before.
Yeah.
At some point, you are going to leave and you are going to miss this. And it's hard right now, but you're not going to remember that part. You're only going to remember the fun stuff. I was like,
Right.
So I would just say like it's gonna be so hard. It's the hardest thing you'll ever do, but it's also it can completely change and grow you, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming back, Mary Kate, and
Yeah.
Thank you.
congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks, you guys.
Can't wait to see what's next for you after
Golf.
your
Yes.
golfing adventures.
US Open.
Golf.
No, that's
Yeah.
tennis.
No, I'm going to the Masters.
Masters, that's it.
God.
Oops.
All right.
That other preppy sport.